unemployment rate in the US, and we have a very high unemployment rate in France. How come? What's the recipe for?
Well, maybe we have a better president than you do.
From the highways of America, here's the podcast where we talk politics, a little entertainment, some culture, and this and that, from the road to your ears. This is Trend Chat with your host, Brian Bledsoe.
And welcome to another episode of Trend Chat. I am your host, Brian Bledsoe, and if you want to connect with us, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok. I'm forgetting all of them now. Just it's all the same name, at Trend Chat 24/7. Again, at Trend Chat 24/7. It's all the same across all social media. So I know it has been a long time. Over a month, as I looked when we came on today and saw that it's been October the 10th since our last episode with our short interview with Senator Cruz. And long story short, this is a very small operation here at Trend Chat, so it doesn't take much to hamper us from coming on. And basically, pretty much right before we did the last episode, we had the whole issue with the Facebook page being, we were blocked from posting on there and all that. And so, so a number of the stuff and just kind of, kept us from coming on like we want to. That being said, also want to mention this now because for the next couple of weeks to the end of the year, put it that way, that we may not be on every week, only because it's the holidays, and also more so because of the holidays and Thanksgiving and Christmas and everything. But as soon as January, from that point on to the end of 2020, we strive to be on every week. But just letting you know, we don't know how many episodes we'll have for the remainder of the year. I know we plan to be back on later this week, actually, so you will get 2 episodes this week. But we're gonna wait until we put out who we're gonna have on and what we're gonna talk about. And I guess a hint we'll give is that it's a guest we've had on a number of times previously. So I'll just leave it at that. But like I said, it's been a while, and we're here in Memphis, Tennessee tonight, and this is when we're recording, and I'm guessing we're going to post this on Tuesday, November 19th. So first thing in the morning. But right now, like I say, I'm here, just parked out here in Memphis, and been on the road as usual and doing the same old same. Nothing really has changed as far as that. But there has been a number of issues and I guess trends that has been going on. We're obviously not going to get into all of them because, it's been over a month and so much has gone on. But while I was, formulating what I was going to talk about earlier today, I got news of this about Chick-Fil-A. So that just kind of pushed a lot of what I was going to talk about kind of further down. So I'm definitely going to talk about that a little bit. And another thing from last week, we had the impeachment hearings. I mentioned something about that as well. So first off, before we get into anything, I want to mention one of our podcast partners being odgapparel.com. Definitely want to bring them up, not only because I would like for you to go out and check them out for trendy Christian apparel, And one of the reasons I wanted to bring them up is the promo code has changed. So if you go to odgapparel.com, they have all types of, Christian shirts and mugs and hoodies and other accessories you should check out. And if you put in the code TC, T as in Tango or Trend, and C as in Charlie or Chat. So it's TC10. That is the new promo code if you on odgapparel.com. So check them out. And want to definitely bring that up because, like I said, the code has changed now. I gotta change everything that I put on social media and all that. So, and it is what it is. So, check them out at odgapparel.com. So, before, I'm just gonna get into this now because so Chick-Fil-A has decided to whether change their donation, where organizations they choose to donate to. And out of that, it was found out that they're going to stop donating to Salvation Army and Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Those are just the two that stand out. There's others, I'm pretty sure, but I guess those are the ones that kind of standing out also because the story and everything that kind of happened with Salvation Army last week with the singer Ellie, I forget her name, but this singer who was going to perform at the Cowboys halftime show, she was going to pull out and not perform because of perceived anti-LGBTQ I guess policies or whatever from Salvation Army. So she was going to not perform because of them, because of their involvement and all that. So with that, and also with this, I guess that's one thing that really stood out with Chick-fil-A. But Chick-fil-A has mentioned it's not like they're just going to stop donating across the board. They, in their statement and what they put out, that they're just focusing on particular issues. So they said they're going to focus on education, homelessness, and hunger, which are all good causes to focus on helping out. There's nothing really wrong with that. But what has happened is, so one of the quotes I heard from the COO, he was talking about as Chick-fil-A try to go into these new markets, and that so they need to be clear about who they are. So I guess by saying that is that they need to, for them to go into other areas that they're not in right now, I guess they feel the pressure that they need to distance themselves from these other organizations who are considered anti-LGBTQ, which to be called anti-LGBTQ, the only way you are labeled that way is because you believe in traditional marriage. It doesn't even have to be anything connected with being hateful or saying anything hateful or doing anything hateful towards them. It's just the fact that you don't accept or don't believe in their lifestyle, and that's it. That's all you have to do. Now, there's others who have gone further than that, and that is something I definitely don't agree with as far as being hateful towards anyone, really. And especially just for anyone because of sexual orientation or whatever like that. I'm against that. But if someone believes in traditional marriage and believes that, marriage between a man and a woman is the only, is the only right way of marriage and or anything like that, this to put the anti in front of it, try to make it seem like it's worse or that they're worse than what it really is. So that's what these whether it's Salvation Army or or any of these organizations, if they're Christian and believe in the biblical sense of traditional marriage, they're just instantly perceived as hateful, really. So, saying that, I guess Chick-fil-A has made that decision now, and they have been protested time and time again for years because of their connection, because of their donations, and also from statements from management, from whether it's the founder of Chick-fil-A and on. They have made numerous statements about their support of traditional marriage. So it seems like at this point that they finally just buckled under the pressure. That's how I see this, and essentially have started to punish these organizations because of their beliefs in traditional marriage. So, I mean, that's what they're doing. They're not going to donate to these organizations pretty much based on that, even though they're saying that they're going to focus on these other issues, but it's not like they couldn't do both. So, this is, look, they can do whatever they want with their money. So this is not an issue where we're talking about anything that we're, needing a government intervention or anything like that. They're a private company. They can do whatever they want with their money. That's up to them. It's just that, they have built a base on, their resolve to not cave to the pressure of all these protests and groups. And not only that, they were gaining customers because of that, because people were respecting the fact that they were standing up, to these groups and not changing their ways. But here we are today, and I don't know how big of a step this is, but it is a step away from what they're been doing. So, this is just another case of corporate capitulation. Now, I've typed that out, and when I put that on social media, I put corporate capitulation. What, corporate capitulation? So I knew how to spell it, but as soon as I spelled it out, and I said I was going to probably mention it on the podcast, and I was like, do I know how to pronounce this? But it is that, even though I can't say it just right, I probably should have looked up how to pronounce it before I came on here, because I could easily type it out. But anyway, yeah, it's just another case of that. So I'm going to try it again. Capitulation. That's what it is. It's just another case of that. And so, yeah, Chick-fil-A, I think they're going to lose more than what they hope to gain out of all of this. Cause again, the CEO was talking about going to new markets. And so they felt like, cause there've been, situations where, so they had like a pop-up store in the UK, and it was shut down after about a week because of it got out about their connections and these donations that they've been making, and also the comments. So it's already been out there. And then you have the thing, I guess you had what happened in, San Antonio, where the council was kicking them out the airports because of the same thing as well. And I'm guessing from all of this is kind of built up for Chick-fil-A to now, again, they're talking about moving into new markets and just globally. And I don't know where in the globe they're talking about, but I'm pretty sure they're looking to expand. And so they feel that to reach these new markets, that they basically need to alienate their base, and forsake these other, these certain organizations, so they can appease these there are protesters out there that have been out and just been just almost, I guess, given with this news, the LGBTQ, protesters have won in this case. Has gotten them to finally bow down to the pressure, really. So, and, anyone that's been listening to this podcast, no, I'm not a fan of boycotting. And this is, for one thing, let me just say, this is nothing even close to even talking about a boycott. But what I'm saying, I've been seeing it already on Twitter, on social media across the board about this news. And now you're seeing people saying like, well, I'm done with Chick-fil-A off because of this. And, so I'm mentioning that because I'm already seeing it, from today. And like I said, if anyone that has been listening to this podcast from the beginning, I've mentioned time and time again, I'm not a fan of boycotts in general, and I'm not going to get all into it. I think I maybe done a couple of whole episodes talking about boycotts, but I guess in short, I would just say I'm not a fan of boycotts because all these corporations are doing something that as a Christian I'm not going to approve of. If I boycotted every company for something that I would believe be unbiblical or whatever, then you literally couldn't do anything at all. Couldn't buy nothing, couldn't do anything. You had to make everything yourself from scratch. But yeah, so that's the reason why. And so in saying that, I know for me, and I'm just speaking for me, when it comes to Chick-fil-A in the past, I will say, because this is how I'm going to perceive it now when I, as far as going to Chick-fil-A, but there have been plenty of times where I just went out of my way to go to Chick-fil-A when I'm, I guess, choosing where I want to eat. So if I see just like a Chipotle or just trying to think of some like restaurants that may be in the same area, or McDonald's or whatever. I mean, it'll be a number of restaurants and it'll be Chick-fil-A. And sometimes it may be out of the way. And I would choose Chick-fil-A because I've supported their resolve in the face of all these unwarranted protests about them being perceived as being anti-LGBTQ. And so that's why I would sometimes do that. I would just make a point to go to Chick-fil-A as opposed to going to Burger King or, like I said, Chipotle or McDonald's or whatever like that because of that. But now, if Chick-fil-A is going to be like every other corporation, and they're going to, like I mentioned before, they're going to support really, these are good causes that they're going to continue donating to, as far as education, homelessness, and hunger. Those are good causes. That being said, all these companies do that. McDonald's do it. All these other companies do that as well. So they're just going to be just like every other company, every other fast food, chain. So if that's the case, then it really it wouldn't matter. So I may go, I may not go. I mean, cause now they're kind of all the same. They just they just won't be open on Sunday, which that could change in the next couple of years. So yeah, at this point, they're just like everyone else. So, so that's how I'm seeing it. So, I mean, now this has only been a day because it's only been out for this past a couple of hours, 12 hours now. But yeah, so now, I don't know. I guess, now we're looking at you In-N-Out Burger and Hobby Lobby. Wondering, are they going to be the next ones to cave in on something and be the next case of corporate capitulation? Hey, I got it right that time.
Hello, Trend Chat fans. The Founding Project invites you to experience our latest resource to take civics to citizens, TFP's new website. Visit us at www.thefoundingproject.com. Be a part of the civics movement with the Founding Project. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Join us today.
Hey everybody, it is Chad Prather, host of the Chad Prather Show. You are listening to Trend Chat with my man, Brian Bledsoe. Come on with it.
All right, so let me get this impeachment talk out of the way, because after this episode, which, if you don't know, I know a lot of times when I come on, when I'm recording, I don't know what the title is going to be before while I'm recording, but I know what the name of this episode is going to be. It's the episode with no title. The reason why I know that, because I'm not going to think about writing a title for this. So before I guess let me say this before I talk about impeachment. Doing this, talking behind the mic is the easiest part of this podcast, because it's, as I mentioned before in other interviews or even on this podcast is basically just me voicing what I'm already thinking in my head as I drive down the road every day. So I'm just putting it on the mic and other people are just hearing it. That's all it is. But the other part that is the most nerve-wracking and most tedious about doing this podcast is, and you'll be surprised, maybe it sounds minor, but to me it really gets to me, is trying to come up with a title for these episodes. Yeah, that, and also writing the description. So if you're listening to this, I would hope for you to read the description, because trust me, I put time in writing those descriptions. And I've talked to someone a couple of weeks ago who actually made it even more important for me to write a description, because it helps as far as being found on search results and all that. So that just made it even worse when he told me that. I'm like, oh, I mean, I really got to focus on on certain words so it'll catch on, and on whether it's Google or whatever search engine you use and whatever like that. So anyway, all of that's the most tedious part of this whole podcast, is writing those descriptions and coming up with a title, only because I want to describe what the episode is about, obviously, but also need to have something to where you will want to click on the episode and listen to it. So it needs to be somewhat compelling, right? I don't know how compelling this is, because it's going to say episode with no title. Maybe that might be mysterious or something. Maybe they'll see that like, ooh, I wonder what this is about. Then again, in the description, it's going to describe what it's about. The title is just going to say that, because I'm not going to try to think about trying to put a title to this for one time. I mean, I may do this a couple more times, but I'm going to really try to make sure I focus on writing the title, but I'm just not doing it for this one, which means I can just basically just go wherever I want to go with this, mainly because it's been so long too as well. So that's the reason. That's some behind the scenes stuff you probably don't care about, but that's the reason why. So let's get to impeachment. Let me say this too, because what I'm about to talk about when it comes to this impeachment and everything, this would be probably the last time I'm going to talk about this in length, I guess. I may just mention about when the votes are in, and just other minor things that are going on around the impeachment. But as far as any sort of like anything past a minute, unless I have a guest on that wants to talk more in depth about it, but by myself, this is going to be it. Mainly because all of this is just a foregone conclusion. That's the reason why. So Democrats have majority of the House. They've been talking about impeaching Trump before he took office. So now they have a reason. They really didn't need a reason, but they got one that they think they have based on hearsay and hurt feelings on 2016 and, their subjective interpretation of what Trump said in that call to Ukraine and all that. So, it could have been a blank piece of paper. That would have been enough for them to warrant impeachment. So now they have enough, and the media's not going to challenge them on any of this. So yeah. So they had the hearings last week. They're going to continue with that. That's really just, as I've already heard, it's nothing but a show. It's a formality because they already got their minds made up. They're going to vote to impeach him, and so they'll probably be done by the end of the year. Before then, I guess. And so that's that's no surprise there. Now, I feel like when I mentioned this, and I feel like people, even especially amongst conservative and Republicans, that I keep hearing like, well, there's no way that President Trump is going to get impeached. And I feel like there's maybe some sort of confusion when it comes to the word or talking about impeachment itself. I think people are confusing or combining impeachment and removal from office, because when they hear impeachment, they think that if the House votes to impeach him, that he's going to be removed from office. And I think I hope there's some sort of confusion, because I keep hearing a lot that Republicans keep talking about, oh, well, there's no way he's going to get impeached. And yeah, I'll say there's no way he's going to get removed from office. But getting impeached by the House, I think that's very, very possible. Because, again, Democrats have control of the House. And they're hell-bent on impeaching them. So, yeah, that's more of a certainty, really. And again, so that will happen. And media's they're friends in the media. And when I say media, I'm talking about news, entertainment, all of it. Across the board, media, just any sort of media, is going to make this seem like it's worse than Nixon, and they're going to use this for 2020. And their campaign ads and how they're going to fundraise off of this. Media is going to be more than welcome to help them as much as possible. And then, at the end, they get some sort of payback because of what happened to Bill Clinton and his impeachment. So yeah, all that's going to happen. So, and then this is where we get to the point where he won't get removed from office, because Republicans control the Senate. So they're going to have their trial. Then they're going to vote to not remove President Trump, because Republicans, like I said, they control the House, and you need a supermajority to remove the president from office through the Senate. So that'll happen. He won't get removed, and Democrats and media as well would use that as well. In 2020, there said something like, well, Congress, Senate in particular, won't do their job and remove this president. So we must, vote for whoever the Democrat nominee is in 2020 to finish the job or whatever like that, and get Trump out of office. And so that's what the media will go along with, and Democrats will run off that and fundraise and all that. So yeah, that's it. That's what's going to happen. I'm pretty certain that's what's going to happen. The only thing I can think that changes where he doesn't get impeached at all by the House, and all of this goes away, which I think that's wishful thinking, really. But if that happens, okay, great. But as far as getting to the point where there's going to be even a chance of any sort of removal, unless something really crazy comes out and something happens. But as of right now, with the quote unquote evidence that they have, Democrats think they have, this is not going anywhere, and this will be it. So yeah, that's it. That's it. That's all I'm going to talk about, because even all these hearings, like I said, that's all just a show. It doesn't really mean much, because they already got their minds made up. So they just talking to hear themselves talk, as always. So yeah. So I guess next, and as I said next, I'm talking about the next thing we'll be talking about, I guess, will be Mr. Kanye West. He had a very eventful weekend. So, and also, again, since we haven't been on since all this went down, and his album and all that, we'll talk about that coming up in just a short moment. Hello, this is Brian Bledsoe, host of Trend Chat, also contributor at politichicks.com. Here to tell you about the new book called Politichicks, A Clarion Call to Political Activism, with over 300 pages from contributors like myself, talking about topics such as education, social issues, healthcare, the Second Amendment, and of course, activism. I encourage you all to check it out at politichicks.com, and is also available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Hey, this is Antonia Okafor with Empowered, and you are listening to Trend Chat with Brian.
All right, so in our last segment, talking about impeachment. So with that, I want to mention our other podcast partner. Our newest one actually is TrumpMug.com. So all sorts of Trump-centric accessories, whether it's flags, signs, everything to get you ready for 2020. So you want some signs to put out front, flags. Personally, there's a item that they have is like a little stamp that you can put on money. It says I think it says Trump 2020, or it says Trump lives here, or whatever like that. And look, I'm saying that for the people who are listening, that is not illegal. It's just funny. To stamp money for that liberal that'll pick up that cash out of the ATM and see Trump 2020 and gets triggered at the ATM and freak out, start throwing the money away because they couldn't stand to see the name of Trump. They just throw it away. I love to see that. I hope I'm there when that happens. Matter of fact, I hope I'm standing right there at the ATM when the liberal, picks up a $20 bill and they see Trump 2020. I can't take that. Like, ooh, and they just throw it away, and I'll be like, right there, okay, thank you. So I get a kick out of that. But yeah, other stuff on TrumpMud.com. Put in the code TrendChat. You get 10% off on anything on there. So check them out at TrumpMug.com. So we talked about, we're going to talk about Kanye West. And first off, let's talk about that album. Because Jesus is King, that's, I would say, first off, the content in this album is 1,000% better than anything he's been talking about in any of his albums. So let's just start there for one. So, but that's just going from the content, from the lyrics and everything. But for me personally, as an album, I like about 3 songs. I think it's 10 songs total. I like 3. all the songs sound good from, as far as the lyrics goes and what he's talking about. But, just as far as the overall song, as far as liking the beats and everything, it's 3 songs. It's, at least off the top of my head, I'm thinking about Follow God, On God, and Everything We Need. Those are the 3. Use This Gospel. Yeah, it's 4 songs. So those are the 4 songs I really like. Everything else is as far as a song overall. I just, though the rest of it just kind of not for me in a way. As far as wanting to play it over and over again, let's put it that way. So that's what I think about the album. Now, ever since all this has been going on, there has been plenty of people on both sides. Ever since Kanye has made his profession of faith of being a Christian, and there are people who are very skeptical of all of this because, and I will say rightfully so. He has had a very eccentric career. He has been a very, just, out there person. Let's put it that way. And some people see this as maybe just another one of his phases or another one of his, publicity stunts in a way. And, I have no problem with people who are skeptical about that because he has done that. So, and, let me use this opportunity now to mention that I did an interview with Freedom on Deck, and where we talked about Kanye, and one of the first questions that they asked, and it's a question that's been asked everywhere really, is about, do you believe Kanye's, profession is real or not? And first off, I would just say, like I mentioned in the interview, I would hope so. And that's I'm overly optimistic in wanting to believe that it is, because that's what I hope for. Not only Kanye, it's just for anyone. I will hope anyone to make a true profession of faith. Whoever's listening right now, I would hope for you to repent of your sins and believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and be make a true profession of faith. So I feel that way about anyone, and that's what I feel about Kanye. Now, at this moment now, we just got to see the fruit that he bears, and because that's what really shows is how does he grow as a Christian. Because also we're talking about someone, if we're talking about in the past, if it's been the past year that he has claimed to be a Christian in this year or so, then we're talking about someone who is, I guess you would say, a baby Christian or very spiritually immature. So in that, there are going to be sometimes that he's going to just either out of ignorance or just out of living in his own, still warring against his own sin, against his own flesh, and where there are going to be things that he do that are going to disappoint and that are going to be outright sinful. But that's true of all of us. None of us are perfect, so we're all going to be doing something. Unfortunately, we're all going to sin, because because we've become Christians doesn't mean that we're never going to sin again. And sometimes it could be like big too. It's not like it's all going to be little sins too. So the same applies to Kanye. He's no better or worse than anyone else that becomes a Christian. They're going to have ups and downs. They're going to face adversity. The only difference is, and it's a big difference though, is that Kanye is in the public eye. Everyone's going to see it. Most people who are new in the faith don't have that problem where they have to, where their every word is going to be dissected and everything that they do is going to be posted on social media a billion times. So that is a pressure that Kanye is that's an added pressure that Kanye is going to have. And it's not only that, it's going to be his family. It's going to be, his friends and whoever he is in his inner circle. And it really going to come down to the people who are around him and are going to keep him encouraged and also hold him accountable when he do slip up. When he slipped up, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. So it's, when that happens, hopefully he has sound biblical people around that are going to hold him accountable. On top of that, hopefully, on top of the people who are holding him accountable, that he is open to be, held accountable. So when they present to him that he is doing something that he's, committing a sin or doing something in a sinful way or whatever, hopefully that he will be open to listening to them and not, shutting them out, because, hopefully he doesn't have a bunch of yes men around him. And, so now with that, this past weekend, he went to, Joel Osteen's church in, Houston, which, personally, I'm not a big fan of Joel Osteen. I would say it's funny. Kanye's album preaches 10 times better than whatever Joel Osteen has been preaching about, quote unquote preaching. I see Joel Osteen more as a spiritual motivational speaker more of a pastor, really. Because his message is so self-centered, as opposed to focusing on God. Is really his message. Joel Osteen's message tends to be focusing on us and having us to feel better about ourselves, and really focus on kind of like one of his books is, living your best life now, which I would say, I would think we'd be looking to live our best life later, not in this life, but stuff like that. And so anyway, he's going to his church, and he went to his church this past weekend. And so him and, Joel Osteen, Kanye and Joel Osteen, Kanye said they're friends and whatnot. So, and he went there and like I said, Kanye's album preaches a lot better than Joel Osteen. So one thing I would say is that if he did his album at the Sunday service, that congregation heard a lot better theological sound doctrine in hearing his album than whatever Osteen has been preaching in there. So hopefully they learned something and heard something better. I would just say that. I mean, I'm guessing Kanye would probably disagree because in that. So, but also before, I think Friday, he went to the Harris County Prison, and he said it wasn't a show, so I don't want to call it a show, but he went there and ministered, I guess, in one way, and did his album and did his songs, I guess. I didn't see it all, but he visited the prison, let's just put it that way. And I think that was something he's been doing all along, even before all of this, I think. And but I'm pretty sure this time the message that he was telling those prisoners was a whole lot better than what he's been telling them before, whenever he went and did anything for prisoners anywhere, I guess. And so with this whole thing, him going to Osteen's church and all that, this is another, one of those situations where everyone is going to kind of see what direction is he really going in his walk with the Lord. And so by going there and kind of I guess you said defending Osteen in a way, and that's, like I said, personally, that's not a great look personally, but also in saying that, he's been in contact, at least I've been told, he's been in contact with people who are more aligned with Pastor John MacArthur. Now, if you know who John MacArthur is, so Pastor John MacArthur, and I'll put it this way, Pastor John MacArthur and Joel Osteen are in the sense of being preachers of the word of God, let's put it that way, they are diametrically opposed to each other. So the fact that someone like Kanye is on getting some counsel from both ends of those, both ends of the spectrum, I guess we'll see where he aligns with, which way he will kind of point towards. And with this recent show at Lakewood Church, it could seem like he may be going toward that direction, which I would say I wouldn't be surprised if he actually leans towards kind of the Joel Osteen sort of way of, I guess, a way of Christianity or whatever. I guess I put it that way, because Osteen's preaching really would appeal to someone kind of like Kanye in the past, especially if someone is very self-centered or someone has been narcissistic. And now, if you listen to Kanye's music in the past, you hear it, that he can be pretty full of himself. And so even though he may have become a Christian, he still is kind of having that that way of thinking. So someone like Joel Osteen, who has a very self-centered message sprinkled in with some Christianity, and so that could be appealing to someone like Kanye. So I wouldn't be surprised if he really could relate to that. Hopefully, he'll be able to see that that's not the way to be so focused on yourself. Like I said, his album doesn't really sound that way. And so, like the name of the album is Jesus is King. So, it really is focused on Christ, as opposed to, I don't want to keep harping more on that, but so, yeah, that's what I have on talking about Kanye. So here we are at the 50-minute mark. And so anyway, we're going to hit maybe one or two more things, and then we'll be done. This is probably gonna be a longer episode, only because I want to get this out, because it's been so long. It's been so long since I talked to you, so you're listening. And so I'm gonna get a couple more things out. And what I'm trying to think, there have been a couple of movies that I wanted to talk about, and also on top of that, it would be, as I look up what I was thinking about talking about, which is nope, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm trying to go through my list of all the trends and whatever and stuff that's been going on in the past couple of weeks. So anyway, we'll be back in a couple of seconds.
What's going on, y'all? This is Brandon Tatum. Make sure you go to Trend Chat, check it out, listen to it. one of the best shows that I've ever been on. So make sure you go check it out, man. God bless y'all.
This is Trend Chat.
All right, so to be honest with you, I just needed a glass of water. So, yeah, and talking about all that. So, just want to hit on right quick. So, I don't know if you noticed, because I mean, these movies are not looking to be. Well, I guess they might be. Widely distributed, I guess, but I haven't seen much of. Much advertisement, but there's a movie called Bombshell that is, I don't know when, I think it's coming out in the next couple of weeks, if not next week, I don't know. And so I'm just mentioning this one because this is a movie that is based on the Fox News scandal with Gretchen Carlson. So if you know anything about that or remember that, this movie is about that, and it stars Charlize Theron and Nicole Kidman, Margot Robbie, and a couple of others. And so it's just it's going to be talking about that scandal and what happened with Roger Ailes and all that. And so, and then you have that movie. Then you also had this other movie called The Report, that is focusing on the Bush administration and the Hands interrogation and the torture and stuff like that. And that movie comes out this, in the next month or so, mainly because of Oscar season, and they want to get these movies out around this time so they get in front of the voters of the Academy. And I'm mentioning these two because I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be surprised they are nominated for Oscars, similar to Vice last year that I mentioned. And just, lo and behold, it got nominated for an Oscar because, of course so, because it talked about, Dick Cheney and showed him in a negative light. And so, of course, the voters are going to eat that up, and they're going to nominate it, even though it didn't win, but they're still going to give it a look because they love to see anything that makes Republicans look like the worst people in the world, because that's what they believe. So, and that's what, and when now we're going to have this, this movie Bombshell talking about, all the stuff that happened. Now, look, I'm not saying like it didn't happen, because, all this, whatever, the scandal was real. So, at Fox News, what I'm saying is that if the same thing happened at ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, any of these other media companies, I doubt we'll be seeing a movie about this, especially to the caliber of where it'll be considered an Oscar nominated movie, and same as The Report. So anything about the Bush administration, I mean, Bush administration has so many, Bush in general, directly, indirectly, have had movie after movie made about him, mostly negative, just mainly because he's, coming from Hollywood. And so here's another movie talking, pointing the Bush administration in a negative light. And yep, they're going to eat that up, and that's probably going to get nominated as well. And the reason I'm mentioning this is not so much to dismiss the validity of the story. It's just that, Hollywood is just going to focus on conservatives and Republicans, whatever that makes them look bad, and whatever they can find that makes them look bad, they're going to focus on that and make a movie out of it. So so to contrast that, I can't imagine there's going to be a movie about Fast and Furious, not Vin Diesel Fast and Furious. I'm talking about the Obama administration and Fast and Furious, that operation. Then I doubt you're going to see a movie about that. You're not going to see a movie about Solyndra. You're not going to see I'm going to say you're not going to see a movie about Benghazi, but you did see one about Benghazi that was 13 hours. But even in that, they went out their way to not even make that connection to the Obama administration in a sense. So you have that somewhat with 13 hours. So I can give them that, but it's like one movie. So you're not going to see a movie about IRS targeting conservative groups and whatnot. You're not going to see a movie on none of that about the Obama administration. Any movie you see about the Obama administration is going to be sugar-coated, going to be basically having Obama with a halo on. And in contrast, anything, oh man, now I just thought about it. Can you imagine what the movies are going to be about Trump? The Trump movies going to be about? Huh. I mean, if Bush has had all these movies about him, and in comparison, how much they can't stand Trump, the movies that are going to be out about Trump, I can only imagine. But and I'm sure they're in development right now. And like I said, and you're gonna have, and all those movies are gonna be just as gonna show Trump in the most negative, evil light that they can possibly imagine, when they come out. And similarly, and so in contrast, anything about the Obama administration will be hailed as, he'll be this, hero that was, could have done so much more if those dastardly Republicans didn't stand in his way or whatever like that. And so, I mean, and if there was a movie done about the Obama administration, about, like any of those Fast and Furious or the IRS scandal and all that, even if one were going to be made, there's not going to be a major production company, 20th Century Fox, Paramount, Universal, none of these major companies are going to touch that. So if one is going to be made, it's probably going to be it will have to be made by some conservative or independent filmmaker, and they won't get near the star power to star in their movie. They're not going to get a Charlize Theron to play in anything that would show the Obama administration in a negative light of any sort. As far as, you won't get somebody like Adam Driver who is in the report, and the report has a very star-studded cast, but that's the only one I can remember because he's like the star of that particular movie. But you're not going to get those caliber actors to star in those movies, even if it happens. So it will. So yeah. I did want to mention that. I know those movies are probably coming out soon. You may or may not hear about them. It's, like I said, it is more so for the Oscar crowd, but it's around this time of year, it happens every year. Like I said, last year was Vice, and now you're going to have 2 movies, and I think there'll probably others. And, so I want to let you know about that. And so here we are. We're not going to get to an hour. We're just not going to do it. But I appreciate everyone listening. And so our next episode, which I'm hoping to be later on this week, we'll have our guests on. We're going to have something in particular to talk about. And so I'm just kind of holding it, to the vest right now, because I want to make sure that we actually do the interview for one. And so I appreciate everyone listening. Again, this is Trend Chat. So if you're listening on trendchat247.com, I appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. Also, we're available on most, I keep saying all, but it's most popular podcast providers, your Google Play, Spotify, and all of that. So appreciate everyone listening. And I really, really do. If you've gotten to this point, I really appreciate you. Matter of fact, if you have gotten this far, send me a message saying, hey, I actually listened to this all the way to the 59-minute mark. So, yep, that's all I got. Until next time, we'll chat with you later.